Good afternoon, everyone. It's Courageously Encouraged. It's John. It's your boy. We're here. New video, new day. Kind of a crazy world right now with coronavirus. Super crazy. So I thought I'd give you a really encouraging word and walk you through a testimony about my life. One of the most difficult things that I went through. A time that was very, very scary for me personally. And I was just wanting to show you how God will stay with you and be with you through anything, and that you don't have any reason to be afraid. God gives you hope, and he takes away your fear. So I want to take us back to 2014. I was an undergrad at Embry-Riddle, actually in my senior year, second to last semester. So I had one more semester after this in aerospace engineering. And I think it was in November 2014, because I remember I got kind of sick right before Thanksgiving break. I don't know, maybe it was a flu, maybe it wasn't. That would be really weird because of the coronavirus and the flu and everything. But I don't know what it was, but I got really sick, and I basically said to myself, look, I'm just going to blast through this thing. I'm just going to sleep all Thanksgiving break, just take that time to recover and recuperate, and so I can get in, because finals were coming, so I just wanted to be healthy for finals and focus for finals. So anyway, so I do that, and I come out of Thanksgiving break feeling great. I even went and played some basketball right after. Then a few days after, late November, I wake up one day and I couldn't move. My whole body was aching. Like I said, the previous, literally yesterday of that day, I was playing basketball, literally could not move. My whole body was aching. My arms and legs were numb, like the numb tingling, but it was also achy, and it was just I could barely move. I had to have Jade help me go walk around places. I couldn't use the restroom. Now this was late November, early December of 2014. So it was definitely a really hard time, because I'm trying to figure out what's going on with me. And it got so bad to the point I couldn't use the restroom, so bad to the point where literally I was in so much physical pain I had to go to the hospital. I think this was first week of December of 2014. So I go to the hospital, and they have to put a catheter in me. God, it's as bad as you think it is. They suck. So they had to put a catheter in me, and he literally said, listen, you have 1.7 ounces of urine in your bladder. Your bladder was going to explode. So that was pretty bad. So I'm walking around with this catheter for a while, honestly. They didn't tell me how to take care of it, anything. Probably some bad stuff going on here. They probably should have told me how to take care of it, how long I'm supposed to have it in for, all these things. So I go to the school clinic, still can't go to the bathroom. A week later, I'm emptying out this catheter. I'm literally doing final presentations, and people don't even know I got this catheter strapped to my leg underneath my sweatpants. It was wild that I was able to finish that semester. I recently just looked, and I got a 3.5 at the end of that semester. So I somehow, praise God, was able to still do well in all my classes, even though I couldn't even use the bathroom, and I wasn't really telling people about this, because it was, I guess, low-key kind of embarrassing. I was I don't know what's going on with me. So I go to the school clinic after finals, and he's taking out the catheter. He says, try to go to the bathroom. I still couldn't go to the bathroom. He puts the catheter back in me. Probably questionable that he did that, because later I developed some urinary infections, which is probably because of that. But anyways, so then we go to the urologist, and can't go to the bathroom. He's like, yo, you're 23, my guy. You should be able to pee, go to the bathroom really easily. This is something way bigger than your urological system. You need to go to the hospital. So December 19 of 2014, I go to Halifax, the hospital, and they get a neurologist to start checking me out. So the first thing he does is a full body MRI scan, which was awful. I think I was in there for 45 minutes. They had to do the contrast, everything. That was awful, just to be in that thing for almost, I think it was actually it was 45 to an hour, something like that. But it was pretty awful. So anyways, this is when things get kind of bad, because up to this point, I'm just I don't know what's wrong with me. I just thought I don't know, I was just, I don't know what it was, but I didn't think it was that bad. So he comes back to me with the MRI results, and he says, unfortunately, I have to tell you, you have lesions in your brain and spinal cord. I'm not a doctor. You tell me that, I think I'm dead. I really thought I was going to die. I mean, it's not that it wasn't serious, but I really thought I was going to die. I remember calling up Jade and telling her about this, and we're both just sobbing on the phone. It was pretty bad. He's telling me we think you might have multiple sclerosis. Like you have to start preparing to understand like what that kind of a life entails. It's not an easy life. He said, we're going to do one more test to potentially put multiple sclerosis to bed, and it might be some other autoimmune thing. So he does a spinal tap, which was not fun. I remember they had to give me some kind of pill that made me all loopy so that I would let them do that because my anxiety was like super through the roof. So do this spinal tap, and I remember I was like super high on whatever they gave me because I was like, y'all do whatever you want to do. Like I'm having a great time. So I put a big old needle in my back, and like I said, I was loopy, so I didn't even care. To get my spinal fluid, and the good news is the spinal fluid looks good. So he's like, you probably don't have multiple sclerosis, you probably have another autoimmune disease which has been attacking your brain and spinal cord to the point where I couldn't use the bathroom. I couldn't, like, my brain cannot like communicate to my lower extremities. That's what was going on there. And I was having tissue damage, brain tissue damage. So anyway, so he's like, we're gonna put you on some corticosteroids for about 6-7 days and just see what that does. And after a few days of doing that, I finally could use the restroom. I could finally start walking. Like certain things were coming back online that had been offline for like a month, being able to walk and use the restroom normally. Like those are some very basic things, but I just couldn't even do those. And basically left me with like a disclaimer. He was like, hey, look, you can walk and everything again. You can use the restroom again, but you do have, like my immune system did cause some damage to my brain and spinal cord. So he's like, you might have certain symptoms. Whatever you leave with is probably that's you. That's all you. You're probably going to have to deal with that for like the rest of your life. So I left the hospital with like pretty much my whole left arm was still numb, and my lower legs were numb. I could walk, but it was like pretty painful. It was like pretty tough. A lot of weakness in my legs. And so I leave the hospital and I go back to Embry-Riddle. I started to reflect on the time of the hospital, and I was like pretty bitter with God, to be honest. I was kind of like, why, God? Like, why did this happen to me? Like, why did this happen to me? Like, it was literally one of the toughest times in my life, and I'm just trying to understand like why God would let me go through something like that. I didn't even understand like what God was doing. And so I go back to Embry-Riddle, and I'm talking about like in the spring, I'm having trouble walking to class. Like I'm having to map out my route, take 5-minute breaks here and there. I had to start walking to class like 10-15 minutes early to even get there early because I just couldn't make it in one shot. My legs were in too much pain. They were too weak, and it was just too painful. And so I'm like, okay, like this is going to be my life for the rest of my life. So about a month goes by of this, just awful. And a lot of people probably didn't even know what I was going through, to be honest. I kept a lot of it to myself. And I had a really good friend of mine just like say like, I believe that God is going to heal you fully. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, you need to start praying for your healing. So I'm like, okay. So I sit down and I started praying for like 2 weeks, just every day, just all day, just praying for my healing. And honestly, miraculously, I don't even know how to explain it to you. About a week or two later after I started praying, my whole feeling in my left arm came back. The feeling in my legs came back. Like the strength in my legs came back. And I was able to play sports again. I was able to do everything that I thought I was never going to be able to do. I've shared some videos. I know I had my other thing, my AVM. We'll talk about that later. But like, as you can see, like from my life, like God healed me because I wasn't supposed to be able to do the things that I'm doing today. And so I just want to share that story with you guys about a time in my life that was really scary, about a time in my life where things were really uncertain, about a time in my life where I didn't know if I was going to make it. I didn't know how things were going to turn out for myself. And even to the point where I was even upset with God, asking him why this is happening to me. And so just in this present time, this is a pretty crazy time. Like this is a pandemic. Like there's people all over the world being affected by this. My Ohio State University, one of the biggest universities in the country, we're shut down for the rest of the semester. Like we have virtual classes at the end of the semester. And so, you see people buying up all the toilet paper. You just see like panic. You just see so many people are panicking. So many people are uncertain about their future. So many people are scared. And so just with this story, I want to show you that God is faithful, right? Even though, I think of Jeremiah 31 that basically talks about, even though they broke my law, I remained a husband unto them. Like I kept my end of the covenant, because even though I didn't really pray to God as much as I should have, whenever I was in the hospital with this, he still healed me fully. He still completely healed me. And so I'm just so grateful for that, because who knows where I would be if I was still suffering with all of those pains. I don't know how far I would have been able to have gone. And so in this like present time, we have to understand that like there's no reason to fear. There's no reason to fear. I was literally just reading this morning. It's Psalms 46, 1-3 that says, God is our strength and our refuge, an ever-present help in our trouble. So therefore we're not afraid. We don't have fear. We fear not. Though the earth gives way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though the waters roar and foam and the mountains quake with their surging, we don't fear. We don't fear, right? Like this world looks crazy, but we don't have to be afraid, because we know that no matter how difficult the thing that we go through, God is there. And he's going to comfort us. He's a comforter. He's going to heal us. He's going to protect us. Jeremiah 1:9 says, have I not commanded you, be courageous and strong? Therefore, do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. So I just want to encourage you in these trying times, in light of what I shared with you about one of my most difficult and scary times in my life, where even at a point in time where I thought I was going to die, I thought I would never walk again normally. I just want you to know that God is here for you. He is going to protect you and keep you as long as you turn to him and you ask him for that help and protection. He's an ever-present help in our trouble. We look around the world and people are freaking out. They're losing their minds. They're acting crazy. But God is still God. And he will still protect you. He will still heal you, even if you don't deserve it. Even if you turned your back on him, he's always there waiting for you to turn back to him. Because the second I turned back to him and I started praying to him, he healed me. Miraculous healing. I'm telling you, I left the hospital. They said, this is it. This is what you got. You got this. And God said, I'm going to give you something better than that. So I just want to encourage you guys. Stay faithful. Stay positive. Don't be afraid. Don't be fearful. Be strong and courageous. And know that God is with you wherever you go, no matter what you go through. I hope that in light of what I just showed you and what I just talked about in my own personal life, that it's not just, I'm not just saying this to say this. I've literally experienced this in my own life. I've literally been through something that was terrifying and hard and painful and health related. But God was there. He was with me. He strengthened me. He healed me. He gave me hope. And he can do the same for you. So, yeah!